The morning Marina Hayes received the eviction notice. The ocean outside her apartment windows felt like the only steady thing left in her world. She stood barefoot on the cracked linoleum floor, her hair still damp with seawater, staring down at the red letters that declared her life had run out of time. 3 months behind on rent, utilities overdue, a daughter depending on her. The kind of pressure that made a person's pulse thrum in their teeth. Yet even as fear curled coldly under her ribs, Marina forced her breath slow and steady, just as she would before plunging beneath a storm-tossed surf. When Lily padded out in her 2 small dolphin pajamas, asking sleepily whether they were having pancakes, Marina smiled with a softness she didn't feel. "Cereal today, sweetheart," she said, keeping her voice warm. "We'll save pancakes for Saturday." It struck her then, how children trusted without hesitation, how they believed stability was something their parents simply produced, like magic or weather. As Lily sat swinging her feet, Marina watched her daughter's innocence like it was something fragile she was fighting the whole world to protect. That same morning, her boss texted asking her to come in early. When she walked into the dive shop and heard the words, "I'm sorry," the weight of them nearly leveled her. Tourist season was over, the shop was cutting back, and she was the newest hire. No hours, no paycheck, no lifeline. She walked back to her car, feeling the world tilt further off-center. By the time Marina reached the marina dock later that day, the weather had shifted, a restless wind stirring whitecaps across the inlet. She'd always loved the sea, its shifting light, its endless moods. But today the water felt like a reminder of how quickly things could turn. Daniel, her boss and longtime mentor, waited in the cramped, neoprene-scented office, knowing exactly how hard the words he'd spoken had hit her. She asked if there was anything, any charter, any gig, any chance to keep afloat. When he hesitated, she knew there was a catch before he even spoke. A man named Richard had called. Wanted a deep dive, far deeper than any recreational limit. Dangerous depth, dangerous weather window, dangerous client. But he was offering $500 cash for half a day's work. Money Marina could use to keep the power on, to buy groceries, to give Lily a Christmas not defined by fear. Rationally, she should have said no. Her liability insurance had lapsed. The storm system was rolling in. A dive past 250 feet without a team was near insanity. But desperation dulls the sharp edge of caution, reshaping it into something that looks like hope. That night, after Lily was asleep, Marina called the number Daniel had scribbled on a sticky note. Richard answered with a voice too smooth to trust. He called himself a marine researcher, claimed he was tracking historical trade routes, looking for objects of archaeological value. He offered cash half up front. And Marina, despite every instinct warning her, heard herself agree. The ocean was steel gray the next morning as Marina loaded her aging center console boat, checking and rechecking every piece of equipment. Regulators, gas mixes, backup tanks. Each item steadied her jittering nerves. When Richard arrived, he was not the cautious academic she expected, but a man too comfortable with risk, too polished, too focused on the horizon like something out there belonged to him. He paid quickly, handed over laminated certification cards that looked real enough, and insisted on signing a waiver that seemed more like a shield for him than for her. They motored toward open water beneath a bruised dawn sky, the storm swelling somewhere beyond sight. Marina navigated by instinct, the boat cutting through restless waves as she tried to ignore the gnawing sense that she was ferrying a stranger toward something he'd already claimed in his mind. 8 miles offshore, the soundscape changed, the hum of the engine swallowed by the immense quiet of the deep. As they prepared to descend, Marina repeated the dive plan, firm and unwavering. No separation, strict depth limits. Mandatory decompression stops. His nod was curt, impatient. The moment they slipped beneath the surface, Marina felt that old, familiar peace, her body yielding to the water, her thoughts sharpening. Yet even at 200 feet, long before the ocean turned black, she sensed Richard's urgency, the way his light swept the seafloor with a hunger that had nothing to do with science. At 280 feet, his beam froze on something half buried in sand, and the world shifted. Jutting from the seafloor like the bones of some ancient beast was the unmistakable shape of an iron cannon. Not one, several. And behind them the ghostly curvature of a hull centuries old. Marina's breath hitched as history rose out of the dark. She'd spent years studying Spanish trade routes. She knew the legends of the Santa Magdalena, a lost treasure ship swallowed by a hurricane in 1681. No search had ever found its spine. Yet here it lay, preserved by pressure and silence, its cannons encrusted with coral, its timbers dark with age. Worth, if history was right, over $300 million in treasure. Richard surged forward, frantic. Marina grabbed his arm, forcing him to meet her gaze through their dive masks. Her computer was flashing warnings. They'd hit their time limits. Staying longer meant risking nitrogen narcosis, risking decompression sickness, risking not seeing Lily again. After a tense moment, Richard relented, but Marina saw the truth in the rigid set of his jaw. He believed the wreck was his discovery, not theirs, and he wasn't done fighting for it. Their ascent was slow, the decompression stops agonizing. By the time they breached the surface, the weather had turned violent. Rain whipped sideways as they climbed aboard. Richard was silent, calculating. On the ride back, he finally spoke. "We're going back," he said, "and this time we document it my way." Marina didn't answer. She knew something had awakened, something far bigger than either of them. In the days that followed, Marina's life unraveled and reformed at once. She returned to the library where she once dreamed of earning a marine biology degree before life rerouted her. There, among fragile maps and dust-scented archives, she confirmed what she already knew in her bones. The coordinates, the cannon arrangement, the hull size, all aligned with the last known records of the Santa Magdalena. A lost galleon, a fortune in gold, a discovery entire nations had spent generations chasing. But knowledge brought consequences. Richard filed a claim. Salvage companies emerged from shadows, waving forged research and dubious evidence. Spain declared sovereign ownership. A London insurance consortium insisted it had paid the ship's loss in 1682. Even a man claiming to be a descendant of the ship's captain surfaced. And then, like rot blooming through wood, Marina's past came knocking. Travis, the husband who'd abandoned her, suddenly remembering their marriage wasn't legally dissolved and asserting that half of whatever she found was community property. The betrayals, the threats, the sudden media frenzy, it all built a pressure heavier than any ocean. But Marina found an unexpected ally in Walter Crane, a retired maritime attorney with tired eyes and the kind of integrity rare in salvage law. "If you walk away," he warned, "they'll take everything. If you stand your ground, you'll need strength you haven't used yet." Marina looked at Lily sleeping beside her that night and made a decision that steadied her soul. She would not walk away. With Crane's guidance, Marina assembled a professional dive team, men with specialized gear, underwater cameras, sonar, and the steady nerves required for the abyss. They documented the wreck from every angle, capturing evidence of tampering where someone, almost certainly Richard, had illegally disturbed the site during the storm. Marina herself found the first gold coin, its surface gleaming faintly even after centuries buried under silt. The proof was irrefutable. When Crane filed the salvage claim in Marina's name, the backlash was immediate. Anonymous threats, intimidating emails, a stranger photographing her apartment, her car tires slashed at dawn. "People have died for less than this," one message read. Fear thrummed through her nights like a second heartbeat. Police reports were filed, but danger moved faster than paper. Crane relocated Marina and Lily to a secure beach house, one he quietly admitted had belonged to his daughter, who'd once been a struggling single mother herself. The community rallied behind Marina, captains and divers raising legal funds, neighbors delivering meals, teachers checking on Lily. Yet as kindness grew, so did hostility. A brick through the window, a lawsuit from Richard's company seeking millions, Travis stalling the divorce to stake his claim. Marina learned to sleep lightly, learned the cold weight of a firearm in a bedside safe, learned the cost of stepping into a battle she never asked for. But she also learned something else. She was no longer fighting only to survive. She was fighting to rise. When the preliminary hearing arrived, Marina walked into the federal courthouse wearing the same black dress she'd worn to her mother's funeral, a reminder of loss, but also resilience. Claimants crowded the benches. Corporate lawyers, foreign officials, opportunists, the man claiming distant lineage, and of course, Richard, smug behind an army of attorneys. Even Travis slouched in the back row, pretending concern while calculating percentages. Marina sat beside Crane as he argued her case with the calm precision of a man who'd seen every trick in the book. He presented her documentation, dive logs, footage, the recovered coin, her status as the discoverer and vessel captain. Then Richard's lawyers rose, painting him as a brilliant researcher who had led Marina to his life's work. Spain claimed sovereign immunity. The insurance consortium brandished a brittle contract older than the courthouse itself. By the end, Marina felt small, like she was drowning above water. The judge halted further dives and set a trial date months away, acknowledging the case would be long and bitter. Outside, Travis intercepted her with oily concern, offering partnership. She shut him down with a fire he hadn't expected. Then a stranger served her papers. Another lawsuit, another blow. That night, Marina stared out at the ocean from Crane's beach house, the waves thrashing like her thoughts. She wondered if she'd unleashed something too big, invited storms she wasn't meant to weather. But when Lily sleepily wandered out asking if Mama was okay, Marina steadied herself. She had to be. Months later, as winter's edge softened and the world's attention slowly shifted to other news cycles, Marina finally felt the ground beneath her steady. The legal battles were far from over, but progress had come, step by agonizing step. Travis's claim dissolved when his lawyer withdrew in embarrassment. Richard's fabrications crumbled under forensic review. The state shifted its stance after public pressure mounted, acknowledging Marina's role as discoverer. Spain negotiated respectfully rather than aggressively. And amid it all, Marina found purpose growing like coral rebuilding a broken reef. With community support and Crane's guidance, she established a marine conservation foundation dedicated to protecting historic wrecks and fragile ecosystems. The discovery of the Santa Magdalena became not a treasure hunt, but a catalyst, opening doors for research funding, restoration projects, and educational programs for